Yeah, sorry about the stream. Trying out StreamYard this time. So the last time we tried YouTube, I felt like it was a little bit more laggy. So we're going to try this StreamYard out, see how it goes. Plus, I have a special guest that we're going to be throwing on here. So we're going to be answering questions as a team. So hopefully you guys are fine with that. Let's see who we have on here. We have George, Andrew, David Small Engine Repair. We got Chaotic Twig. We have Jonathan Tolbert. We have Ash with AJP Garden Machines. We got Bama Mowers, Doug. We got Tommy Cod. We got Ruda. Let's see who else. I think that's about it. Well, 11 of you guys on. So welcome to the Small Engine Nation podcast live stream. I'm your host, Phil. If you guys don't know my name is Phil, and I will be leading this live stream, live Q&A today. And thank you for being on here. What we're going to do is first we're going to answer the questions from the viewers that sent in those questions. We're going to be answering them first. And also, if you guys have a question, you can go ahead and put your questions down below. And there's a little prompt for you guys, if you guys can see that. Leave your questions down below or in the chat. That way, when we are done with these questions, we're just going to go and go to the chat and answer your questions next. So I'm not sure how. I have about 10 questions to answer today. So we're going to be going through those, and also we're going to go through those chat questions after these ones. So hope that makes sense. And let's see. I think that is about it. Also, I did want to mention one more thing. If you guys, we have unlocked Super Chat and Super Stickers. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, show me some support, you will get your name on the Super Chat shout out banner there that goes through, and everyone will see your name and how much you donated to the channel. So much appreciated. Again, all proceeds go back to making the channel better. And again, I am interested in probably getting a better video recording studio or something like that. So maybe a slightly better webcam so we don't get this lag, but I hope you guys can understand that part. So let's see here. I think that's about it. And now, Andrew, if you want to jump on, you can jump on right now. We're going to wait for Andrew to jump on. He is our guest, and he should be on here soon. Let's see. And Andrew, if you're hearing this, yeah, you can jump on right now. So we'll just be waiting for you. But how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing okay. Again, if you guys have any questions, right on, Andrew. I appreciate it. Andrew, you are the very first person with the super chat. So I'm going to go ahead and throw you on the banner. But I appreciate that, Andrew. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. So again, if you guys want to super chat, I don't force it upon anybody. But if you do want to, again, your name will be pinned on the banner. And also it'll be pinned up top on the chat. And your name will kind of stand out there. So it's pretty cool. So let me get this on here.
How you doing, Phil?
Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear you. I cannot.
Give me 1 second. Can you hear me now?
Give me a second here.
Hello?
Oh, I think. Yeah, I can't. I cannot. All right. Well, I think what I'll have to do, we're having some audio issues. What I'll have to do is put on my own audio set. So give me a second. Sorry about that, guys. We'll get through this in 1 moment. We'll try to get Andrew back on here.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
I'm just
I have to
making
change
sure-
my settings.
That's fine.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, man. How you doing?
Good. For some reason, my Galaxy Buds aren't connecting.
Yeah, no, same thing.
So I'm going to try to figure this out.
With my earpiece, the mic won't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I was testing. Man, it's weird. It wouldn't work with my Bluetooth headset.
Huh. Is there, for the people in the chat, is there any echo or anything going on? For those, do you have an echo, Andrew?
I don't hear one.
I keep on have to switching back, but I think I got the sound right. Is it good now?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm checking the chat too. I got the chat up here.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we're good. I got the chat up on my laptop here.
Okay, perfect. I just have one slight sound issue, but I think we'll get through it.
Right?
Okay, everybody hears us both fine, so I think it should be fine. All right, well, let's go ahead and do this first. We'll start off with the questions, and then again, everybody that's on here, we have 14 viewing now, so I appreciate everybody that's on here and in the chat. If you have a question, go ahead and leave a question in the chat, and we'll get to it after these questions, viewer requested questions. So let's see who we have on here. We got a new guy. Oh, we got Mark Maltz on here. We have Hot Rod Repairs, and also Tommy. Oh, Tommy. Okay. All right. Perfect. So I think we're ready. To go. Let's just begin.
Right. I got the chat up here too, so I can see it too.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I'm
Awesome.
using a Harbor Freight tool cart as my laptop holder.
Oh, so you decided to stream with your phone, not laptop?
Yeah, it has a way better camera. I was on mixed mowers with my laptop camera, and it's just blurry. This is way clear audio or clear video.
Yeah. I was debating to do it with my phone too.
I gotta say, when I watched your phone live stream after you already did it, it was a lot clearer.
Yeah, what I think what happens was when you first stream, it's really blurry, and then the video processes through, and then it becomes like a higher quality. So,
right. Plus, are you using a aftermarket webcam or just the one on the computer?
It's just on the computer. So
yeah, I think that's what. I don't think they put much technology into these.
No, I only get like 720p from these computer laptop streams.
So I think in the future, me and you need to buy a better webcam for our computers.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'll do the same probably a little bit later. So
yeah, hey, did that super chat work? Did it come through?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I just want to make sure I was testing it out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll be throwing you on the banner, and as soon as we're done with the questions, I'll kind of show that and then let it scroll through.
No, that's fine, man. It's not a big deal. Just sending a test one.
Okay. All right, perfect. So let's begin. Again, how this is going to work, we're going to go through these viewer submitted questions. All these questions have been submitted through my channel videos, so comments and then emails or whatever I get. So all these questions are based. I don't choose all of them. I kind of nitpick through some. And I think all these 10, I believe there's 10 or 11. I believe all of these have a good discussion, make good discussion topics. So we're just going to talk through them and except the first question, but you'll kind of see what it is. All right, so let's begin. I think we got a lot of people on here, so it's basically time to start. So, all right, first question up here. I throw it up on the stream, so you should be able to see it. You see it fine? Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so first question is, how much engine and pump oil does my Stihl BR600 take, or RB600 take? Also, how often do I replace the pump oil? So for those of you that don't know, Stihl RB series is their Stihl's pressure washer series. They have a 200, a 400, a 600, and an 800. These 6 and 800 are both commercial units, while the RB200 and the 400 are residential. So you basically have 2 residential, 2 commercial, and this person's asking, they got an RB600 commercial unit, and they want to know how much engine oil, how much pump oil the engine takes and the pump takes. So to answer this question, it's quite simple. Usually, I believe what the RB600 has is a remanufactured either Honda or Kohler engine, and more than likely it's just a 20-ounce engine oil. That's what I'd recommend. I kind of did my research a little bit. So they take 20 ounces, and also I had to look this one up. I did not know how much pump oil off the top of my head those pumps take, but I did look up, and they surprisingly take 16.9 ounces to be exact. So depending on how much you drain out of there, you're going to be looking at least 16 ounces of pump oil. Just check your levels after that. So, and then part 2 is, how often do I replace the pump oil? Upon break-in, the first 5 hours of use, you want to change that pump oil out right away. And also after the second 250 hours of use, you want to change the pump oil out again. So that's what Stihl recommends on their regular pump oil change. But your first initial pump oil change will be the 5 hours of first use. So I didn't even know that. Honestly, I had to look that up. I knew the 20 ounces, but I didn't know the 16.9 ounces of pump oil, which was surprising. So that was just one out of the blue question that I wanted to answer. I believe I did answer that person via YouTube, but I did also invite them on to our live stream. So if you're on here, go ahead and raise your hand. So, but have you ever worked on one, Andrew? Worked on a Stihl?
No, mostly just leaf blowers, chainsaws, weed eaters, and backpack blowers. I didn't even know they had a pressure washer off the top of my head.
Yeah, they got
and their pumps, not the engine, but the pump has an oil thing on it.
Yeah.
Because most standard pressure washers, unless they're commercial grade, don't have a pump oil.
Yeah, the funny thing is, on the RB200, they don't have pump oil at all. Yeah. So you don't have to change it out. I mean, I'm sure they got something in there, but you don't have to change out that oil. So, which is surprising. I mean, coming from RB200s are, I'd say, $350 to $400 themselves. So I don't think I'd ever buy a pressure washer for that price that doesn't have pump oil.
Right.
To be honest. That's just me. So
well, I don't know. I use a basic Briggs & Stratton one. Just on the bottom. Wash? Yeah, on the bottom pump.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think it just uses the oil from the engine, to be honest.
Right. Maybe something like that. I took like there's like this Costco brand. I'm not too sure what it was. It's like a yellow. I forgot the name, but I took it apart one time and I removed it from the gear case, and I mean, it was separate, so it wasn't using the engine oil, but there was actual oil inside the pump itself. But there was no way of draining that oil unless you take the head off and just start taking off parts. So I mean, the pump oil itself was just, I guess, there for a reason, and to never be touched, to never be changed.
kind of like in a car, a sealed transmission. You know, you
Right.
never change the transmission oil, but it's there forever.
Yeah. No.
I don't know. I like you. I'm one of those people who, I want to make sure my oil's fresh. It's like those machines you get that say, don't change the oil on them. Those
Oh yeah,
lawnmowers.
those John Deeres. That, like I think that's like a D120 or D110 that they sell at Home Depot that have those air filters that you never have to change.
The Troy builds are doing them too now.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Right? Just add, never change.
No, that's not a thing that I'd see proceed in the future. I think it's just like a temporary thing that they're doing. They're trying to make it big, but I don't think it's going anywhere, to be honest with you.
Right.
So, all right, let's see. Next question. We have a long one. This person asks, I have many engines with different CCs, 50cc RC engine, 70cc hacksaw, 20cc and others, most with Walbro Carbs. How do I know or calculate the right pressure for each engine or carburetor? So what I'm assuming is this person is testing their carburetors or testing their fuel line or intake pressure and whatnot, seeing if their engine holds pressure or carburetor holds pressure. So what I tend to do is when I test carburetors, I don't push them past 0.8 bar. That's just me. I don't know about you, Andrew, but I don't push my gauge past 0.8 bar, which if you do the math, what is that, like 2 something PSI? 2.56 PSI? I don't have the conversion ratio right now, but.
You got that one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't push it past the 8th bar.
Yep.
Yeah, it's about.
What is that, 2.5 PSI?
Yeah, around there. By the way, pressure tester here.
Yeah, that's the same. I got the same one. Then I also have a Stihl pressure tester, which you can test vacuum or do vacuum testing on your engine. Yeah.
Now, see, what I was always told was you're supposed to go until they pop to make sure it's not seating. Make sure that the seat pops off, which is around 15 psi, and then you want to watch the gauge drop until it reseats, and then it should hold around 3.5 to 5 psi. But most of the time with the CC engine, isn't that just how big the engine is? Because I've seen multiple CC engines that all use the same carburetor.
Run the same carb. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, they just run the same carb, and more than likely there's some kind of WT carburetor.
You want to find out the specifications on what the carburetor is supposed to hold at and what it's supposed to pop off at and reseat at. But now each one is going to have a different leak down test pressure. But because it all depends on the size of the engine.
Right.
But I mean, most of the time the carburetor has nothing to do with the CCs.
Yeah. The carburetor itself is just one little unit, and you could take it off and pressure test it without having to take, or actually with taking off. Let's just say you're working on a chainsaw, you take the carburetor itself off, you can pressure test it. But if you don't want to take the carburetor off, then you can just test it through the fuel lines, as long as your fuel lines aren't leaking. So this is just another way to test your fuel lines, but you would know without actually taking your fuel line off and seeing that it is leaking. So I think it's just better to just replace or take the carburetor off and test the carburetor itself, because if you do have a leak coming through your carburetor, then you can just throw it in water or gasoline and see where the bubbles are coming from. So
that's the best way to do it.
The right pressure for each engine, for each carburetor, you just pump it up. I was never taught of the that pop-up method with the needle and seat, but I was just testing up to 0.8 bar just to see how if there were any. Making sure it holds air.
Yeah. The only reason you're supposed to do that is you just want to make sure that needle actually pops up, and then you should start to see your meter drop, and then you should know exactly when your needle reseats and holds that pressure around 5 or 3 psi.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you want to make sure it holds pressure, but you also want to figure out, because if it's up to 20 and you're not unseating, you got to fix that needle or something sticking that needle.
Right.
But you want to see the needle unseat, the meter go down, and then reseat on the diaphragm. That's on a diaphragm carburetor though. I wouldn't know if this guy's I guess everything in his question is all two-stroke.
Yeah, basically, said mostly with Walbro carburetors, so more than likely Walbro Zama carburetors, same thing, of the same diaphragms. So,
and they're 90% of what you'll see, Walbro Zama.
Right, yeah. Well, I think that wraps up that question. Let's see. Next question is a business question. It's pretty interesting. A young viewer actually sent this in. Says, I'm 16 and I've been flipping machines for about 2 years now. I might start doing a repair for people now because I have enough tools and knowledge after doing this for a while. Any tips? The first tip I want to tell you is definitely and absolutely start right now. It's the perfect time to start. And because not only is this, if you already have knowledge and tools, not only is that easy for you, basically small engine repair isn't a seasonal thing. It's all year round. So you can repair snow blowers, lawnmowers, chainsaws, trimmers all day for customers while also flipping machines and making double your profit. So I have heard of people just strictly flipping machines and working a 9 to 5. They don't take on any customer work. So all they do is flip machines, because all they're working with is time. They're not working with an actual client that is, hovering over their backs, wanting their snow blower when it's, snowing a foot on the ground already, So there's advantages and disadvantages of starting repairing for clients. Again, it's gonna be either a part-time or a full-time job for sure, because you will need that extra time to repair the machines and to order parts in order to deal with those clients. Because again, flipping machines and repairing machines for clients are two different things. So just a quick tip for you there. If you want to start and you're ready to start, ready to deal with clients, callbacks, possibly problems that can occur, then I'd suggest starting that, if you're ready for that. So
my main tip for that would be, always, if you're going to start with customers now, always put the customer's item before your own stuff. So if you got 10 machines you're working on to get ready to flip and you get a customer's item in, don't finish working on your 10 items. Do your customer's item. Get them in and out before your stuff. But now, like Phil said, if there's people out there that just flip, the reason they don't do customers is because there's been times where I can't even work on my own stuff because I have so many customer stuff. I don't have time to fix my stuff and sell it. Always put the customer ahead of your stuff. That's my tip if you're going to start doing customers. So, if you're doing good flipping and stuff, but you want to do customers, just be prepared to not work on your stuff until you get slow. Now, there are definitely, in this business, it may not be seasonal, but there are definitely high points and low points in business. During the winter, it gets a little bit slower, but, from March to about August, you're busy. You don't have time to work on your own stuff.
Yeah, I agree, especially on the slow season, because right now,
don't be afraid to say no to something too. If you don't know how to do it or you can't do it, just be honest. That's my last tip I got for someone right off the bat new.
Yeah, definitely. I see a lot of people jumping into the small engine repair and dealing with clients before they actually have hands-on experience. So they go full on board and then take on so much work that they don't know what to do with it, how to handle it, how to repair it. And then they just become so stressed and have this anxiety in them, and to where they just want to quit, and they only started like 2 weeks, it's their first 2 weeks, and they already want to quit because they don't know what they jumped into. So,
plus, have you ever got that customer that comes in and says, man, I tried to take this to another guy and he messed it all up, and they charge me like $60 and
I've had a lot of people bringing in machines that are already disassembled, and they want me to put them back together because the first mechanic didn't know what he was doing. And so they want me to put the machines back together. Well, I don't like that. I don't necessarily like to fix another mechanic's problems. So, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do, And then if you do,
that's why you don't. That's why if you can't do it, you say I can't do it.
Yeah, but if you do it,
the customer's not going to be mad if you say no, but the customer will be mad if 2 weeks later you're like, here's your stuff in a crate. I don't know what to do. Figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they come to us with the crate and like, hey, this guy said figure it out. Now here's you. And I'm like, I'll do it. But you should have brought it to me first. You should, check reviews and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Just be ready. Just be ready. Customers bitch. Flipping machines don't. Oh, forget my language.
It's all good.
Yeah, customers will complain. But if you're just flipping, the machine doesn't cry.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. If you want to get into it, you got to probably start with like family members or cousins or people that that won't necessarily want it done in a week or two. I mean, you can maybe hold on to it for about a month if it takes you, longer to repair. I'm not saying that, if it takes you about a week, or 2 weeks, then go ahead and take it on and repair it if you have that knowledge and tools. But if you don't have the knowledge again or tools or ability to repair that machine, then I would suggest not starting in the small engine repair business to do for customers, repairing machines for customers, but continue on, increase your knowledge by taking on these machines and flipping them. There's really, no one has a knife to your back and making you start, wrenching for clients. You can just do your own thing on the side and keep on making those profits and build up that cash flow or have some kind of cash or capital where you can maybe actually start legally and open up a shop and have employees and whatnot. So, but you got to have a good amount of cash in order to do that. So, but I think we've answered that question already.
I hope it helps some other people too.
Yeah. For those people in the chat, again, you're more than willing to chime in as well. So this isn't just between me and Andrew. Everybody in the chat's also included. So we're all here to help each other out.
You want to go over real quick some of the new members in the chat? Looks like we've got a bunch now.
Oh yeah. Open up the comment section here. Let's see who we got. We got Tyler Reminen. We have Leaf Dixon. We have Steve. Steve Small Engine Saloon is here.
Hey, Steve.
We got Susan. Is that your wife, Andrew? Susanna?
Oh yeah, Susanna. Yeah, Susanna's my wife.
We got Roadrunner. You are not late. We have. I think that's about it. So we got a lot of people here. We got about 18 people watching and 25 likes. That's good.
That's good.
We appreciate all your likes. So let's see. Let's go on to the next question here.
Next question.
This question is pretty much a pretty easy one, but I like to address it just for those guys that want to know about safety. What kind of safety precautions do you take in your shop? I know generally everybody does oil cleanups, safety glasses when sharpening, earplugs as well. Any other things you could recommend? Andrew, I'll let you start off with this one, and then I'll kind of proceed. I think we have the same mindset right now, but
I want to say that in this business, the number one thing you need more than anything, in my opinion, I mean, above safety glasses, above earplugs, is ventilation. You do not want to be starting these small engines.
Oh yeah.
Like my garage here, obviously I got 2 big bay doors over there. I got a door over here, and I got a few exhaust fans that I run. And even I've seen, a lot of other people start them outside or right next to a garage door, but ventilation, if you do not have ventilation, that is, you're trying to warm something up or start something up in a shop. You got about 10, 20 minutes where you start getting sleepy.
Oh,
That's the number one thing I recommend is ventilation. Make sure you have good ventilation.
The cool thing about this business is when you usually start in a shop or garage, which has windows and a garage door. So every time I start a machine, I almost never start any machines in my garage. I always take them outside, especially if it's like a riding mower that you did like a valve cover replacement or something. or a head gasket. You want to see, make sure that it's not smoking. You want to take it outside so that you don't smoke out the shop. And then if you do smoke out your shop, then you're just going to be left with a cloud of smoke, on the ground or on the ceiling, whatever, or in the air, and you're going to be smelling that all day. So, and also that goes into mind when you work with filling your machines inside your shop. You might have some gas, pouring or leaking out of the spout, and it'll go all over the machine. Yeah, and then you're going to smell gas all day. So, especially if you get it on yourself or whatever. But if you do anything fuel related or starting machines, I would recommend starting them outside. So if you can't, then make sure you got windows open, fans going, and because if that machine does smoke, you're going to just smoke out the shop or garage. So I agree with you. That's a very good recommendation, Andrew.
I don't know. I'm kind of bad when it comes to safety because I don't use earplugs. I do use safety glasses when I use the bench grinder, but I don't use earplugs. Nothing ever really is that loud in our business.
So,
but for the people watching, wear earplugs.
Oh yeah, but I disagree. When I do run chainsaws and tuning chainsaws, especially that high screw, I have to have plugs. That thing screams in my ears. I don't know about you, but I wear plugs all the time working with chainsaws. So plugs are good. Obviously, safety glasses when sharpening blades. So we got all those covered. What I want to mention is a fire extinguisher. You never know when you will need that fire extinguisher, because when the time comes when you accidentally spark some gas on the floor, you get that flame, you're going to need a fire extinguisher. And I recommend just getting one of those household $25, $30 fire extinguishers from your hardware store, mounting it to the wall.
They sell $15 at Walmart too.
Yeah, $15 or something. I know I had like those little mini ATV.
Yeah, they're cheap. They're dirt cheap.
Yeah, trailer ones for like $20. So, buy one and keep one in your shop. It is just a must-have for safety. I mean,
make sure also when you're buying a fire extinguisher, you make sure you get the right kind, because our fuel is different than a standard grease fire or something.
Oh yeah, there's different ratings on.
Because I have one specifically for oil when it's on fire, and then for gas when it's on fire.
Yeah, so having a variety of fire extinguishers is beneficial. And so if you get,
that's a good one too.
Different kinds, then do it. It's better to have something than nothing. So if you can only afford one, just get one that'll extinguish. I don't know what the type is. Isn't there like a A, B, C type?
A, B, A, C, and A, B, C.
Yeah. So if you can, get yourself a different type of fire extinguisher that'll work for your application.
Just read the instructions on them.
Yeah. One thing I also want to mention is make sure when it comes to safety, make sure you do put jack stands underneath mowers when you're working on them. So if you're jacking up mowers, make sure to put some jack stands under the deck when you're doing decks. Don't just lift that mower up unless you have like a mower lift. But I sometimes tend to jack up the front end of my lawn or zero turn, but not put jack stands. And then, if anything happens to that jack stand, that deck is just going to flop right on you, and you're going to have a very hard time of trying to push that zero turn or riding mower off of you. So, yeah. Jack stands is also a good safety tool to have for your shop. And also when it comes to oil cleanups, that also does, I want to recommend you clean up your tools as well. Don't have tools laying around, or don't have, sockets or whatnot laying around the shop floor and having such a big clumpy mess where you can't find anything or you can't find your tool. Always make sure to be organized when it comes to cleaning up your shop or having things on the floor, because when you're holding like an engine, for example, you're transferring over an engine to a table and you accidentally slip on a deep well socket. Well, what's going to happen is your foot's going to come under, and that you might fall on your back, and that engine's going to hit you right in the chest. I've seen that. I haven't seen that happen yet, but hopefully that will never happen to me. But that's why I always pick up my tools and either set them on a chair or set them on my toolbox or work table or workbench, whatever you have, prior to working on another machine. So whenever I'm done with one machine, I put all those tools away, make sure they're in the exact spot of where I need to, and then start working on another machine, just so I know where all those tools are, everything's in place and organized, and I can grab it and start wrenching on another machine. So you don't have to worry about. So my quick tip is just keep your shop floors clean and from any obstructions. So yeah, if anybody else has something to say about this, go ahead and leave a comment in the chat, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. But
so we got ventilation, we got fire extinguishers, and we got keep the shop clean, which is pretty much, that covers the whole thing. And then the standard safety glasses, you keep the shop clean, you keep the ventilation, and you keep the fire extinguishers, you should be good to go.
Well, on top of that, if you're in the hardware store, get a first aid kit. So unless you don't have, if your shop is disconnected from a home or in a different location, I bet you already have one, but make sure to buy a first aid kit, or a second first aid kit will always come in handy. So I guess just things that are coming up in my head. So
right, yeah, there's thousands of them, but we got a few main ones.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Let's proceed on to the fifth question. So this question here came in during one of my toolbox tour videos. They just simply asked, do you use the tools in your toolboxes for only small engines or for your vehicles and other bigger stuff? So it's just a quick answer for you guys. I use my tools for literally everything, for my cars, for like industrial repairs, ACs, whatnot, and also small engines. So all of my tools, well, some of them are designated for small engine repair. When it comes to like diagnosing small engines, I have specific tools, but sockets, ratchets, all my impact guns are used for my trucks, my cars, and small engines. So I don't specifically have separate toolboxes for separate, what would it be called? Field of work, I guess. So like automotive and small engine repair, they're not separated. All my tools are in one toolbox.
Same thing with me. I mean, I haven't used my tools in the house.
Yeah.
So, hey, however, though, some people have a toolbox in their truck, just to have, so the tools in their toolbox are for the shop, while the tools in the truck are for out and about.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I do have a toolbox mounted in the front of my 6x12 enclosed trailer. And what I use that toolbox for is specific tools that I can use to repair my mowers, my leaf blowers, and also my trailer tires. So I have the specific lug nuts and breaker bars, jack stands, in order to, if I ever get a flat or if I ever break a belt and I need to remove a pulley or something, then I have those specific tools for my lawnmowers when I'm out doing my performing lawn care service. So I don't have the capability of driving back home, or I mean I do, but I don't want to waste that time, so I can just do a quick repair on spot. So I do have a specific toolbox designated for, let's say, mobile repairs, I guess, during my lawn care services.
Yeah, I do too, because that's what I do a lot. And I know a lot of these small engine guys hate going out of the shop, but I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I pick up and deliver all day, but going out there and start tearing out machines and engines, or taking out carburetors and cleaning them, that's just not my thing. I like to go in the shop where it's warm and for my services. But mobile mechanic or mobile small engine repair, I've never got into. I might get into that next year, but we'll see. I don't know. It's still something roaming in my head type of deal. But again, I feel more comfortable and relaxed to do them in my own shop at home instead of actually going out and doing it. Because if you can't fix that chainsaw or can't fix that riding mower at their property, and you don't have a trailer or you don't have a truck to take it back home, then you're just going to have to drive back home and then order parts and then wait on it again and then drive back there. So you basically waste time. But if you do have a truck and trailer, then you can just load it up on your trailer and then go and fix it at home. So I think that's what you were saying, Andrew. I was watching one of your videos, and you said if you can't repair it on spot, then you just take it with you.
Yep. Like I said, I went out there. We diagnosed, like my last one, the riding lawnmower. We went out there. We diagnosed it. We ordered all the parts. When the parts came in, I went out there and fixed it.
Yeah. So you had the customer order parts, or you ordered the parts?
I ordered them.
Yeah. Yeah, and they came to your address. They didn't come to the customer's address.
They come to me.
Yeah. So
because I ordered them with my yeah.
Right. So, well, all right. That answers that question for whoever asked that. I don't have any names. I don't like to put names on here just because of privacy concerns, or if people don't want to be publicized. I guess I just keep the names out. All right. One question from a viewer: where do you get your certification from? I have an A&P for helicopters and planes, but want to repair small engines. So certifications come from usually when you're working at a shop. And what will happen is if you work on the shop for a very long time, or maybe actually they want you to have certifications before you enter the shop, you can get certifications from small engine repair course at a local college. You can get certified, and also by contacting, I believe you can contact Briggs & Stratton directly and take their MST course. I think there's some pre-courses you can take, and then take the MST test and be an MST certified Briggs & Stratton mechanic. So there's just a few other ways that's the ways I know. I know if you work for a Stihl dealership, you can do the bronze training. You can also do the Stihl certification training, and also gold. And if you're really good, you can take their platinum, which is by far the hardest, probably the hardest test, and very few people pass that one. So if you are working in the shop, it's pretty easy to get certified, because more than likely that shop has ways where mechanics can get certificates. Just like if you work in an automotive shop, you can get like ASC certifications. So same thing with small engine repair shops. More than likely, the boss will offer you or give you some type of courses or tests to take in order to get certified. So,
but in my opinion, I don't think you really need them. I have zero. I repair almost everything.
Oh yeah, no, they're not necessary to start small engine repair.
I can understand that working on helicopters and planes, those things can kill people, in the sky. So you need to be certified to work on something. You can't just have some, mechanic work on something like that. But for a lawnmower, they don't care who works on it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, no.
Now maybe if you want to do warranty work, you have to be certified. But most, I don't need. I'm a warranty dealer for a company, and I'm not certified through them.
Right. Yeah, I don't think in this type of field of work, I don't think certifications will get you hired, to be honest with you. I think experience will get you hired over certifications. And certifications, all they do is just hang up on the wall. Like my Stihl Silver certification, I'm Stihl Silver certified. I don't feel one darn bit smarter because I'm
how much does Stihl pay you?
Right. Yeah. There you go. They don't pay me nothing. So, but I feel like it's just easier just to get hands-on in this type of field of work, instead of going out and chasing every certification and thinking that you're going to get paid $25 an hour at your first job as a small engine mechanic. You're not going to get paid $25 an hour.
It's just, in my opinion, they're bragging rights.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So now it depends. If you get hired in a shop and they offer you, hey, if you get this certification, then we'll give you a raise. Then that's a whole nother story. Then go ahead and get those certifications, as long as the shop's going to pay for them. But if it's out of your pocket, then I don't think it's worth it. So, but if the shop's willing and they'll give you, a slight raise or something, if you do get those certifications, then go ahead and do those courses and classes. So, yeah. But definitely not necessary to start. All right, let's see. We'll go on to the next one. So this viewer asked, what do you think of the auto-tune carburetors? And do you know if there is an umbrella software that would cover all brands of auto-tune equipment? I specifically don't know if there is an umbrella software that would cover all. I know like Stihl has what's called the MGD1. It's basically a program box that you hook to your laptop. How it's been all the change carburetors work and whatnot. So I feel like the
Hang on one second. I'm lagging a little bit.
okay, are we good?
Yeah, so far I think we're caught up now. That was lagging. I don't know nothing about auto-tune carburetors, so this question's not for me.
Well, what Stihl has, I think Husqvarna came out with them too, are auto-tune carburetors, or Stihl calls them M-tronic carburetors, which adjust themselves depending on the altitude, depending on the humidity, and also depending on how bad your fuel filter and air filter are. If they're clogged, then the carburetor will self-adjust itself and run under that certain condition. I honestly, some guys hate them because they're not able to adjust the carburetor itself. I like them personally. For my field of work, I know arborists are a whole nother thing, but for my field of work, I would honestly love an auto-tune carburetor, a carburetor that I won't have to tune itself to make it run leaner or richer, depending on the altitude of where I'm cutting. So I feel like auto-tune carburetors are great if you're not doing much cutting, but if you are doing a lot of cutting, if you're a heavy cutter and dealing with dirty air filters and dirty fuel filters, and also wanting to adjust your carburetor by yourself, then definitely the auto-tune carburetor is not for you. So you got to watch out with the chainsaw you're buying. So especially like nowadays, they got the Stihl MS500i, which is a fuel-injected chainsaw, right? So you have no adjustments at all. I mean, you don't even have to choke the thing. It'll start with one pull. So, which is kind of nice. But I see where Stihl's going with it. I don't know if it's just going to blow up and be the best thing ever. But if you ever seen that price of the saw, I think it's like $200,000 for just the saw itself. And I don't know if a lot of guys are wanting to spend that much or not. But I would never spend that kind of money. So
nope.
Okay. Even the auto-tune carburetors, that M-tronic carburetor itself is, I'd say, over $150 for the carburetor, so which increases the value of the saw by $200. So you can buy the same saw for less than $200 with a regular carburetor than going and buying an M-tronic carb chainsaw, so, or auto-tune carb chainsaw. I know they're definitely overpriced. So, all right. You never worked on one before, Andrew? You ever seen them?
Nope. Yeah, that's new to me. I have not seen those yet. They have not come through.
All right. Well, I hope that answered the question. I believe I answered that question already through comments in my video, but just kind of to recap what it was. I think that was an interesting question. But let's go ahead and go to the next one. What are your thoughts on the aftermarket in-tank fuel filters? Now, when I saw this question, I believe what they mean were on the snow blowers, those MTD snow blowers have those screw-on fuel filters. And aftermarket ones, I would highly suggest you stay away from them because more than likely they won't seal properly. And especially if you look at those inline fuel filters or shutoff valves, they always leak. The aftermarket ones always leak. If you buy a carburetor, an aftermarket carburetor for $15, they'll include a shutoff and they'll include a inline fuel filter. And about 98% of the time they leak. So they never hold that fuel. They actually just leak through the seams, through the seals. And the same thing with in-tank fuel filters. They do the same thing. They leak through the threads, and you can start to see a little drip when you reassemble everything on. And you guys don't know, if you've never worked on an MTD two-stage snowblower with all those covers and those 10mm screws, it can take a little bit to take that thing apart. So I just wanted to let you know, if you're gonna buy aftermarket in-tank fuel filters, buy OEM. Stay away from the aftermarket. I don't like aftermarket fuel anything other than carburetors. So carburetors have worked for me. Sometimes you do have to change the flow bowl O-ring or flow bowl ring or flow bowl gasket, but more than likely the aftermarket carburetor will do much better than any other aftermarket fuel related products.
Oh, so they're not talking about the ones that go in the 2 strokes on the end of the fuel line that go in the tank? Because to be honest, I never had a problem with those. I buy those all the time, aftermarket.
Those,
yeah.
If we're talking about the ones that go in like 2 strokes, I've never had problems with them either. I'd recommend them. It's just the same thing as an aftermarket air filter. I mean, all they do is just filter out the fuel. But the ones that are on when I read this question, I thought it was the ones that screw in or pressed in on those generators. I would just stay away from those aftermarket fuel filters. So
right, I hear you. Petcock ones.
Yeah. I've never had good luck with them. That's just me. So, but I order my aftermarket ones from Amazon, and I usually read the reviews, but sometimes they don't have reviews. So you can't base upon anybody else's opinions or reviews.
Yeah, I hear you.
You have to take that. You have to try, and if it doesn't work for you, you can either return it or just take that hit, I guess. But yeah. All right, let's go on to the next question here. How do you deal with annoying customer? How do you deal with, annoying customers? I have one that keeps bringing things back for the same problems: foul plugs, self-mechanic work, incorrect fuel mixture, etc. They don't take your advice. All right. Well, how I deal with annoying customers, I always take on their work, right? And I always repair the machine to my specs and give it back to them. And obviously, if they don't take their advice, that's their problem. It's not your problem. If you give your advice to them on how to mix your fuel properly or how often they should tune up their machines, then you're doing the right thing. It's just their problem, right? And they're problematic customers. So when they bring those machines back, let's just say, you poured, like I was talking about in my bring back video, I was talking about the customer that poured his own fuel after he ran out of my ethanol free fuel that I put in his riding mower. He poured his own fuel in there. Well, it turns out that his fuel was like a year old, right? And it wouldn't start his machine. So then he called me back, and I was scratching my head trying to figure out what it was. So if you inform the customer, just letting him know, hey, I just put ethanol free fuel in this riding mower. What you have to do is when you get home, take that gas tank and pour it into your car or pour it into a container and give it to an automotive store and refuel that gas can back with ethanol-free fuel, fresh fuel for the season. So I always recommend the fuel from this point on. Yeah. But.
And my thing is, if someone brings it in, let's say the same problem, and then they bring it in again to you after you fixed it, you look at it and it's the same problem. You'd be like, hey, man, I just fixed this. I'll do it one more time for you. But next time I'm going to have to charge you. I'm telling you, stop doing it like this. Stop doing it like that. I said, I'll do it one more time for you, to make sure we're okay on, make it right with you. But you can't. But if a customer brings in something and it's different, you're going to have to charge them. But you just let them know, hey, listen, man, when I first fixed it, I didn't know it was this. Now I found out it was this. So we're going to have to fix that now. Like I have a Craftsman that I fixed, got it running, did all the fuel lines, sent it back, and then the clutch burnt out. I didn't charge him for that at first, but then he went and burnt that out. So now, even though it's back at my shop, I'm going to have to charge him for a different repair.
Exactly. Yeah. So if they keep bringing
eventually you just tell them, hey, I'm going to have to charge you again. I can't keep doing this because you keep breaking it. But do it politely.
Yeah, exactly. If they keep bringing in their machine, then what you have to do is just fix it for them again, right? Because you can't just be fixing their problems and having them pressure you like that to where you feel sorry for them and giving them the the machine back for free. No, you have to charge them for it because you're not the problem, they are, right? So even though they think you're the problem, you're not the problem, right? And you have to charge for your time. You can't just do free repairs for bringbacks.
Yeah, because we all have them. I had a guy one time who kept bringing it in saying it won't start. And I started right in front of him. I'm like, it's starting fine to me. Well, I couldn't get it to start at the house, so he'll take it back and they'll go, I still can't get this thing to start. What, and then I say, well, how do you start it?
Yeah.
And then you watch him and you're like, okay, well, you're not choking it. You're not even turning it on. There's an on and off switch. It's like, you can't keep bringing it back, wasting our time, So you finally, one day you just have to ask him, show me what you do. Show me how you do it so I can tell you, where we're doing wrong.
Yeah, I get those things all the time, especially on chainsaws when they go and choke it and prime it 20 times and then try to start it and they just flood their machines. So every time they bring it back, you just unflood it and they smoke like crazy and you tell them, hey, you flooded this machine. You only have to prime it like twice. If the saw's been running, you usually don't even have to prime it. You just choke it.
Right.
And I'm like, I tell them all the time, I'm like, no, you guys don't have to, this is how you start the machine, right? And they tell me all the time, I've been running chainsaws my whole life. Well, they bring it back to you flooded all the time, right? So you got to inform them, okay, this is how you start your machine. This is what's going on with it, and this is what's wrong with it. But I will have to charge you for the time, right? You're going to have to charge them. Unless it takes you like 5 seconds. But if you have to drive out there and show them, then you're going to have to charge them for that time that you drove out there and showed them. So things aren't free. That's how I deal with annoying customers. Again, I just charge them again. If they don't like it, they can take their machine somewhere else, right? I don't roll that way. I don't do free repairs, and especially if they annoy me about it, then I definitely charge them double. I'm just kidding.
But you know what? I always try to make it right with them and explain to them, the situation and what happened. And like I said, I'll do it once. One time I'll make it right if it's not my fault. Now, if I messed it up, I'll do it regardless. But if it's their fault, like if they put bad fuel in it, like you said on your video, I'll fix it one more time. Part of my thing. But if I send it back and they put bad fuel in it again, I'm gonna have to charge them again.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Repairs aren't free. That's for sure. So it's just one way. I hope we answered the question there. How to deal with annoying clients or customers. This next question came in from my prices video. This gentleman just asked, what's your maximum price? So he's probably talking about either a specific repair or labor charge to where I just call it quits. So I don't have a maximum set price, but I have a specific calculation I do to where I total out the total cost of the machine itself or the value of the machine, right? And then I take the repair cost and show the customer, and I say, hey, your chainsaw is going to cost $200 to repair. These saws brand new right now are at Lowe's for $219.99. For an extra $20, you can go and purchase a saw, right? Or we can replace 3 of these parts on your old chainsaw and give it back to you, and that won't give you a guarantee of other parts that may break. So for a brand new saw for an extra $20, I always kind of give them that, put that mindset into play when it comes to, I guess, not choosing a price, but giving them an estimated price and seeing if they want to do the repair or not. So I don't have a maximum price, unfortunately, but that formula of what I just told you guys is definitely key. And I think a lot of people do that as well, So
in this kind of question, I would say, like, I have kind of a maximum price. Like, if I have to buy parts, I have a maximum price of $50. If it's 50 or under, I'll buy the parts myself and then put them on and charge the customer. But if it goes over 50, like let's say I need $100 a part, that's when I ask the customer for the money, and then I put it in my bank. I buy the parts with that money. That way, if the customer backs out, doesn't want the repair, I'm not out $100. I can figure out something to do with those parts for $50 or under. So if it's a $20 carburetor, I'll buy the part myself. But if it goes over $50, I charge the customer right then and there. Tell them, hey, here's the parts. I need this money right now. I'll order them, and then we'll put it on. Because if they back out, you're not out that money.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with that. One thing I had was during my last live stream, I showed you guys that machine that I needed to repair. It was a snowblower attachment, and all we thought, me and the customer, all we thought was it was a sheared gear worm. And I said, okay, no problem. You know, he already bought the part, so all I had to do was charge him for pickup and delivery and labor. Right? No problem. No parts ordering, no nothing. It could have been like a 2-day job. Well, what happened was when I took that thing apart, the shaft on the auger shaft itself was sheared on the keyway key or flat on the key itself. It was sheared, and then also the spiral that came out from the impeller was sheared as well. So there were parts that were not counted for and unseen. I call it unseen damage, right? So I quickly tallied up all of the parts, and I was going to order them through Amazon, so I had to mark them up on there, right? And I knew nobody had these parts. Well, I guess I could have called a few shops around, but I don't think anybody stocks these parts because they hardly break. It's just for this client, they broke, right? So I quickly tallied up the parts with labor, with the parts, with the markup, tax, everything, with delivery and pickup. It was over $550. And I said, whoa, hold on. I have to call this customer right now because, first of all, I need a confirmation on ordering these parts. Second, I need a down payment for these parts because I'm not going to go and spend $300 on these parts and have him back out, right? Because then I'll be stuck with the parts and no money. Well, lost money in that case because.
Yep.
So the thing is, when that comes into play, you always got to get a down payment from the client, no matter what. Like you said, Andrew, $50 and higher, the customer's paying for it. So, but when that time came,
the customer can pay you, you can still order them, but that way you're not out the money.
Exactly. Yeah. So someone other than you is paying for the parts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I sometimes order parts on my credit card, business credit card, and I know for a fact that it's going to be paid off within a week. So if you know exactly that the customer is going to pay, and you can just pay off that part amount on your credit card, then go ahead and be my guest. But yeah.
But other than that, no. If a customer wants a $1,000 repair, I'm doing a $1,000 repair. I don't care.
Right,
but
exactly.
When it comes to maximum price, I have a maximum parts price I'll spend my own money on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah. I don't have that price set yet, but $50 is good. If I had to choose, I would do $100 just because that's what I can afford out of pocket.
Yeah.
But I
just
probably
don't want to be out $100, you know.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Because I know
true.
I could sell my $50 parts back quick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, especially if it's just a part that, you know, you use. If you order like a carburetor, specific carburetor, and the customer somehow ghosts you, that specific carburetor can usually be used on other pieces of equipment that come in. If it's like one of those, one of those carburetors for those MTD snowblowers, those two-stage snowblowers. I think they're I forgot the brand of the engine, but there's like a 6.5 horse engine or something like that. But more than likely, you'll be using that part regardless. So even if the customer ghosted you, you're just going to have a brand new carburetor that you'll be able to use for a different customer, and that way you won't order it. So you technically don't lose money. But again, if I went and ordered those shafts and spindles, I would be holding on to them for who knows how long, right? Because those parts don't ever sell. So there's nothing. I don't go and retail those parts out, right, and have people buy them. I don't do that. So
I hear you.
Yeah. Well, next question is a little bit similar. Should I be ordering parts online, distributors, eBay, Amazon, or buy parts from my local small engine repair shop? Something real quick I want to mention. If you want to support your local small engine repair shop, then be my guest. And also, if you want parts right away, if they have them, then I'd recommend going to your local small engine repair shop and getting those parts, because you instantly have access to the parts and you can instantly do the repair the same day if you need to. Now, be advised that those small engine repair shops do mark up the cost of their parts. So I don't know what the markup cost at your shop is, but in my shop, I even mark up my parts 30%. like no lower, no higher. It's always 30% markup on parts. So, and when I order from distributors, it's obviously you get the wholesale price, right? So a spark plug is going to cost $2, and the same spark plug, if you go to a small engine repair shop, is going to cost you, $4.19 or something like that. So it's like double the amount of what you'd actually pay with shipping from ordering from like a, let's just say, distributor like Discount Online Parts. They have cheap stuff on there, right? And if you order up to $99, then your shipping's free. So all you're doing is paying for the parts itself. So if you need access real fast, you can go to your local small engine repair shop and see if they have it, or call them, not drive it, call them and see if they have it. And if it's something that the customer can wait a week or two, then I'd suggest ordering off Amazon or eBay or whatever distributor you go through. So that's just my take.
Yeah. I'm an eBay and Amazon guy. eBay has a lot of specialty parts though, and you can always find exactly what you're looking for. So what I do is I just type it in on Google and I look, and if it's on Amazon or eBay, I buy it there first. But sometimes I have to go to e-replacement parts or Pro Parts Direct. But mostly you can find everything on eBay or Amazon. Just whatever pops up on Google if you don't have something local. Even Walmart.com I bought parts from before.
Wow, I never went through Walmart for small engine parts, but I have seen parts on there.
Yeah.
But I always go through Discount Online Parts, because I feel like they have the cheapest prices, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I've seen their prices before, and they compare nothing to Amazon prices. But Amazon does have two-day delivery, right? Prime. So if you have Prime membership, then Amazon's definitely the way to go. But if you can wait a week or two, then I just order your parts from Discount Online Parts. But they don't have all the brands, right? So you're going to have to maybe go brand chasing through various websites just to locate that one specific part that you need. So, and then you're probably going to be paying a premium for that part because nobody stocks. So, yeah. All right. Well, I already see that the chat, there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, let's switch to the chat real quick.
Well, that was the last question. So I'm happy to inform you guys we are done with the viewer questions. We're going to be switching over to the chat. I'm going to go through the top and see what we've missed. I don't think they're. Let's see. Oh, George has the. Oh, wait. Okay, the first question I see is actually a recommendation from Mark Motes. He says, how's the 80-inch Husky box and would you recommend it? I personally like my 80-inch Husky box. I find no issues with it, and it works for my application. I always started out with small toolboxes and tool chests, and I quickly upgraded because my tool set grew, right? And I had so many of these tools that couldn't fit in my toolboxes, so I needed something a little bit bigger. So that's just I recommend it if you can afford it, but if you can't afford over $1,000 toolbox, then just stay away and get smaller toolboxes or tool chests, what you need. So, let's see, George Novotny. Let me throw this on here. It says, have you seen any of these Spartan zero turns? They seem to be well built. I have seen Spartan zero turns. Those are the black ones. Have you seen those, Andrew?
No, I don't work on a lot of zero turns here. I think I work on
Arizona, right?
Yeah.
You guys don't get much grass growth over there?
I got the riding lawnmowers like the ones you've seen in my video, but not a lot of zero turns. We don't have a lot of lawns where people are using those.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I probably will never see one in my shop. I have had a few zero turns, but never a Spartan because Spartans
they break all the time.
Nice. They're really nice machines, but maybe I'll get one, but I definitely don't. There's not a Spartan dealer in my area, so I'll probably never work on one, but I have seen them. They look pretty cool. Yeah. So, let's see. Oh, Tyler Rainman has a question. Let me pull it up here. Literally just started my business, quote unquote, yesterday. Love working on motors. Decided to make some cash. Need advice. If job is above my skill set, how do I handle that? Give it back to customer with no charge? That's a good question. That's a very good question. If you take on something that you don't feel comfortable with, be honest with the client. Put it back together the way it was, and yeah, don't charge him, because the customer is not going to want to pay for something that you didn't repair or didn't feel comfortable repairing. So unfortunately, you're going to have to put it back together and just be honest with them. Be like, hey, this is something that I don't feel comfortable handling. And honestly, they can read your honesty from you. If you're honest, they'll appreciate that, right? And especially they'll appreciate if you give them a recommendation to a shop that they can go to and take that machine to that shop and have it repaired. So honesty comes in a long way. Again, if you don't feel comfortable with, you already took on a machine, you don't feel comfortable repairing it, just put it back together and give it back with no charge. Fortunately, that's just how I feel.
Now, for me, Tyler, what I would do is if you know it's something you can't do, don't take it and attempt to try to do it and then put it back together and say you can't do it. Just let them know right offhand, I can't do it. But now if you think it's something and you dismantle it and you realize it is something you can't do, that's like when Phil says, put it back together, let them know, hey, it's actually not this part that I could do. It's an engine rebuild. I don't have to, because for a while I had to tell people I don't have the tools to rebuild engines. I didn't have a honing stone. I didn't have a piston ring compressor. I didn't have, so I had to tell if anyone wanted engine repairs or something or rebuilds, I said, nope, can't do that.
Yeah.
So if you know it's something you can't do, don't take it and attempt to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree.
if you find out you can't do it, let them know you can't do it. And, you can't charge them for your incompetence.
Yeah. Yeah. From the beginning, make sure that it's something you're capable of doing. If they hand you a transmission rebuild, right, from like a Time Master or something, or let's just say they want you to rebuild their pump on their pressure washer, I always throw my hands up and I say, no way. I don't even rebuild pumps. They don't. First of all, when you do rebuild pumps on pressure washers, they're 100% more than likely to just fall apart and leak again. So that's just something that I never do. And I learned my lessons the hard way. So customer brings it back like a week later or 2 weeks later and saying, hey, it's leaking again. That's a really hard repair, and it's just something that you don't want to do again. So I never take on pump rebuilds. That's just me. So
good luck to you, Tyler. Good luck to you.
Tyler, thank you for the question. We appreciate it. Moving on.
And I hope your business makes a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, next question comes from Leaf Dixon. I'll throw it up here. Oh, I need to hide that other question. Give me a second. Or hide that banner. Okay. Leaf Dixon, how do you deal with customers that do not pay you?
You don't give them back.
Andrew, you want to hit it? You want to do this one?
Yeah, if they don't pay you, don't give them back their stuff. And you just let them know, hey, listen, you're going to have to. You know what? I've had one customer who didn't pay me. But I've had like 10 who ghosted me. And then that's a whole different legal aspect. Now, if they don't pay you, you don't have to give them back their stuff. And if they want to make a big deal and, everything, there's a thing called theft of services, But I've had one customer that refused to pay me. I just didn't give him back the stuff. And then eventually he got mad and came and paid me and got his gear back. But however, when it comes to ghosting you, you're going to have to figure out the laws and like what to do then. If I don't know what you're talking about, like if a customer comes in and says, hey, I don't want to pay you for it, give me my machine back, you're going to tell them, no, I don't think so. But if you're done and you call the customer and they just never hear from it again, that's a different story. That's a legal issue.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel like if they have a machine that's valuable, they'll come and pick it up and they'll have to pay you, right? They're not just going to come into your shop, open up your doors or garage and take that machine and go down the road. No, before you hand that machine to them, they're going to have to pay. And before you deliver that machine, they're going to have to pay, because I have delivered a few machines, right, and send the invoice. I have a CRM for my business. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I sometimes send, like, to trustworthy customers, I'd send them a invoice, and they have a net term of 15 days to pay that invoice.
Yeah.
But for the customers that are
My account
first
does that.
timers, always pay before you deliver that machine back to them. I never send out
If you drive all the way to their house and they don't pay, put it back in your car, drive back to the shop, and then now they're going to have to pick it up and pay you for the repair.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and what I do is I always tell them I can deliver it to you, and you can pay me right on spot, write a check, or I have like a Square reader that they can use their credit card or cash. So, but yeah, I think we got that one down. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. Oh, Tyler has one more. Let me pull it up. One last question. Are all mower engines similar? Example, riding versus push. Big difference? Yeah, I'd say there's a difference. If you're working on a small, like Briggs & Stratton 6.5 horse push mower, it's much easier to get to the carburetor and air filter and whatnot than if you're working on like a Kawasaki FX 600 or FR 691 or something like that. Bigger engines require more tools and more knowledge. So if you don't feel comfortable with working on a bigger motor, I'd suggest you don't work on it, right? And don't bring it to the shop. So, but there is there are similarities.
Now when it comes to it, it's like most of the time all riding lawnmowers engines are specific, but now all push mowers are specific, but push versus riding are way different.
Yeah.
Obviously they require a lot bigger engine because they got to haul you around on it. But most of the time all push mowers are the same and all riding lawnmowers are the same in a sense. Like you can swap pretty much. If you have a push mower deck, you can put any downdraft motor on it from a different lawnmower, and it should work fine. But when it comes to parts and stuff, that's when everyone is different in a way.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go down. Let's see, anybody got any? If you guys got any questions, leave them in the live chat stream. We will get to them. We're going down the list right now. So if you got a question, go ahead. This is a good time to ask. Let's see. Thomas says he got his first customer today. So far, so good. That's good.
Congrats, Tom.
George said good working extinguishers. Definitely good to have in the shop. Let's see. Leaf Dixon had another question that he posted. Are there any machines or brands that you refuse to work on? Now, Andrew knows that I hate calling that Eager Beaver chainsaws. I hate Max in general, working on them. Yeah, so I honestly, there are some machines that I just say, hey, this is not worth repairing, and I just refuse to work on them because I know for a fact that repairing that saw is going to cost way more than actually buying a brand new one. So sometimes the price is what reflects the ability to take it on or not, the price of the repair. Now, if it's just like, oh yeah, I'll put that away.
Weed Eater brand, Hyper Tough, anything that's not that you can get for $80 or $100 or under. If you can't repair it for under $60, I won't work on it. I'll tell the customer straight up, go buy a new one.
Yeah. I always depict the value of them. I'll bring them in, but I'll depict the value of them and say, hey, your machine's not worth fixing, but I'll still charge them for like diagnostic fee and whatnot, $30 to look at it, right? So they always tell you, can you just look at it? Well, I can just look at it, and then you'll just pay me just to look at it, right?
Yeah.
And just tell them, no, it's not worth it.
Most of the time I'll work on any brand.
Yeah. Well, I'd work on something, but other than Mac chainsaws, I don't want to work on those.
Chainsaws ever.
Steve asked if I was using Firefox browser right now. No, I'm not using Firefox, Steve. I'm using Chrome.
Google Chrome all the way.
Yeah. Probably it's because he probably said that because my stream is a little bit laggy, but it's just
right.
It's not laggy for me, but I think for other streamers it's a little laggy. Let's see. We're going down. Oh, William asked, who's your partner? Yeah. No, that's Andrew's Engine Repair. Check him out on YouTube. Type that in the search bar and you can find him right on the top there.
Yep. As soon as you type in Andrew E, I'm right there.
David Small Engine Garage says, does anyone use ZEP? I'm not too sure what ZEP is. Andrew,
ZEP
can you?
Degreaser.
Oh. I don't use
right
that.
Here.
I don't even, yeah, we don't have that kind of degreaser. We have Simple Green and
This is a Home Depot brand.
It's a what?
Home Depot.
Oh, really?
I'm about to try out a brand new degreaser that I've never really used or heard of soon. So stay tuned for that.
Well, I definitely recommend staying away from Purple Power, especially if you're using Purple Power in your ultrasonic cleaners, because that does fade out or blacken the carburetor aluminum. So
yeah, like I said, you know, I'm gonna try out another one soon, a new brand of degreaser. But most of the time I use that, so that's what I use.
Right.
Until this new product I'm getting in soon is good or not.
Yeah, try it out and let us know. But I've so far used a 10-to-1 ratio, 10 parts distilled water to 1 part Simple Green, and it always seemed to work fine, especially if you run them for about 15 minutes at 60 degrees Celsius.
The degreaser is what I use on the engines outside. Carburetors, I just use Dawn dish soap.
Yeah.
Okay,
now let me turn that. Yeah, let's go through them. Oh, Michael Turner asked, do you use any small engine diagnostic equipment?
All the time.
Yeah, I mean, if I have a section in my toolbox where if you open it up, yeah, it's even you know, pressure testers, right? We use them on a regular basis to diagnose. Even a spark plug tester is a diagnostic equipment.
Have them right nearby, because it's the number one things we use. We always have them out.
Number one thing: spark plug tester, compression tester, pressure tester. Those things that you use on a regular basis. So, Mike Turner, just to answer your question there. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Pool 2. I did not see you. Welcome, Pool 2. Thank you for joining our live. I have your question coming up right now. Do you guys use fuel storage cabinets, and what about waste oil and old gas? Did you guys talk about this already? Just tuning in? No, we did not talk about it, but let's talk about it. I also have a video on my YouTube channel underneath podcast where I talk about gas and used gas and used oil disposal in the small engine repair business. Go ahead and check that out after this if you want to, but let's go ahead and talk about it. I don't use any fuel storage containers, but I use Sure cans, which are safe cans, I guess you can call them, that don't, well, they ventilate slowly, but again, they're spill proof and whatnot, but I keep them in the shop. And whenever I grind, you know, chainsaw chain and sharpening blades, I make sure that those containers are as far away as possible from the sparks, just so I don't ignite or create, you know, a problem for myself. But that's just me. I don't use fuel storage. What about you, Andrew? Do you use any fuel container?
I have 55-gallon drums, and I reuse everything. So I have an oil burner, which I use to heat up stuff for like my little hobby of blacksmithing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an oil burner furnace, and so I reuse all my oil that I find. And with the gas, I just give it away for free. People love old gas. I don't know why. But I'll put a list on Facebook like, hey, if you want free gas, you can have the container too, you know. And they'll pick it up in 2 days.
Oh, I get like hour return time.
Oh, right.
Drive up.
I'll watch them put it right there in their car.
Last time I saw that was a tweaker van pull up to my driveway and pick up both the oil and the gas 5-gallon, because I usually do them in a 5-gallon bucket. And they pick both 5-gallon buckets up and just drive down the road. I just say, free gas, free oil. You pick up on Craigslist or something.
Free bucket, too.
And I get like storm calls. I mean, like 10 to 15 text messages and phone calls every minute just saying, oh, you still got that gas? You still got that oil? Apparently it's hotcakes. And to me, if they take it for free, I'll more than likely be more. I can't be more thankful than just get rid of that oil instead of having to go and pay a company to come and drain it for me or whatever, take it away from me. So,
that cost you money.
exactly.
Hey, it was funny. We had a question earlier about certifications, and right here, Steve Spoon, he's a big YouTuber. If no one else knows about him, which I'm pretty sure we all do. But he says he has 100 of them, just throws them all in the trash. They're useless. They're bragging rights, really.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That was about our certification question. Everybody wants to get one, but really you don't need them.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Let's see. Thomas says 2 walls of tools, 8 boxes of tools, and 2 boxes of machinist tools, plus 50 reams, 200 drill bits, 6 pressure gauges, and some other stuff. Nice collection. That's quite a bit. Let's see here. Let's keep on going down, trying to find some questions. Oh, Tyler says I asked like 4 questions, but have to put my kiddo to bed. But I'll watch this later to find the answers, hopefully. All right.
Yeah, we got you, Tyler. We answered 2 of them for sure. I didn't see any other. I seen 2. We know we answered 2 of them.
Let me just. Tommy Cod says stay away from aftermarket fuel shutoff valves. They have problems with them leaking. Yeah, same here. I never have any luck with fuel shutoffs or fuel filters, aftermarket ones. Let's see. Oh, Mixed Motors is on. Hey, welcome, Mick. If you're still on here. Tommy Cod says operator error is a major cause of comebacks. I agree. 100%. Unless, again, there is that slight chance of you actually messing something up.
You know what? Everybody does. Everybody messes up. Don't feel bad either. Fix it. Do the customer right. Get it done.
Yeah. William. I don't think this is a question. William I says, I try to educate them on what they should and shouldn't do and make sure they understand before they leave, especially if it's an older, elderly person. Some people just don't know. So that goes back to where they actually, don't know how to run a chainsaw or run a trimmer or run a lawnmower. You show them how to do it prior to sending it back out. So making sure that they know all the safety switches, the PTOs, how everything works, so that way they don't run into the "it won't start on me" issues and bring it back to you. So,
do we have any more questions? My chat froze a while ago. I think I got to the bottom where I saw Williams, but I didn't see anything else.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm at the bottom. Oh, Mark Motes. Oh, Mark Motes asked about my 80-inch Husky box. It's holding up well. I recommend it. Yeah, for a full-time mechanic or technician, sure, I'd recommend it. If you're over 6'2", it might be a little hard for you because of the low height of that hutch. Like I'm 6'2", and I hit my head, so I had to actually raise the casters with wheel chucks that I bought from Harbor Freight, and it raised the whole thing up about 4 inches. So that's just a recommendation there. Let's see, Kenny Blankenship. What's the name of your shop, Phil and your friend? Person I have next to me is Andrew's Engine Repair. Check him out on YouTube and also on Facebook. And what are you on Instagram too?
All the socials.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil, it's been great having you on. It's been an hour and a half. I think I got to get off for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Go to dinner.
Hey, sounds good. Andrew, I appreciate your time on here and appreciate all your answers that you gave for those people. And I hope Andrew's questions for all of you have been helpful. And thank you, Andrew, for being on here and your time. So we appreciate it. We'll have you back on sometime maybe later. I don't know if we'll have you for 2 weeks from now, but we'll see how that goes. And be sure to have you.
Just let me know. I'm glad to be here. If you guys want to find me, I'm on Andrew's Engine Repair on all platforms. Thank you again, Phil. It's been an honor and a privilege to answer some of these questions with you, man.
Yep. Thank you, Andrew. All right. Hey, take care. Have a wonderful night.
You too.
All right. Okay. Well, let's go through them. I think there was a few more, and then we'll probably wrap it up. Let's see. Tom Schaefer says, I'm doing my first rebuild since I left tech school this week. It seems scarier than it really is. Not that scary, Tom. There are, honestly, there are hundreds of videos out there on how to rebuild engines. And specifically for that type of engine, you will more than likely find a how to rebuild or find like a forum or a diagram or just a process online on how to rebuild the engine. But again, never take on work that you don't feel comfortable with. So if you don't feel comfortable with doing it, don't take it on. Kenny Blankship says, I'm trying to figure out what to call my small engine repair business. Kenny, that is one of the hardest things you do when opening up a real business. It's just something that you gotta, figure out. Kenny Small Engines or something like that. I don't know. So, hey, Do It Right. How you doing? See that you're on there. Oh, Do It Right says, but I think certification is good so you can keep up with the latest and greatest. You don't have to have them, but it still looks good on you if you have them. Yeah, that's good. If you have certifications, you can take them with you. They don't actually belong to a shop. They belong to you. So, which is nice. You don't have to actually drive somewhere or not drive somewhere. You don't have to, you don't lose those certifications when you do become certified in the specific shop. So like me, I don't work at the repair shop that I used to work at, but I still have all my certifications, right? The one thing you lose out on is further, increasing your knowledge and further getting like better certifications in specific with specific companies. So, all right, take care, David. I appreciate your time on here as well, and thank you for hanging out with us till this time. So, how far will you travel to pick up equipment? This is a tough question, or controversial question, I should say. And something's wrong with that. See if I can get it. Okay, there we go. So, question is, how far will you travel to pick up equipment? I usually tend to stick to 10-mile radius. Now, sometimes I do go past that, depending on what I'm picking up. If it's just a chainsaw that I really have to go and pick up, I more than likely don't. But I usually like to keep my radius at 10 miles. So something like a riding mower, right, in a 10-mile radius is perfectly fine for me. So, but if you do go past that 10 miles, you have to charge extra, right, for each mile. So $3 extra per mile or something like that. So depending on what it is, then if it's past that 10-mile radius, I don't know what your radius is, but I usually try to keep it to 10 miles. So, all right, let's go ahead and hide that question. Leaf Dixon asks, do you use a motorcycle lift to work on your machines? Any recommendations? Leaf, I used to work, or I used to have a motorcycle lift, but not anymore. The reason being is it just takes up a lot of space in my 25 by 25 shop. I had a motorcycle lift, and which I used to mainly just throw mowers on there and snow blowers. You can get like 2 or 3 of them on there, but for $300 or $400, I just recommend you build yourself a shop table instead, or buy one of those hydraulic lifts for, I'd say, no, actually, no, I don't recommend hydraulic lifts from Harbor Freight, because when I bought my hydraulic lift, it didn't work for me. Even when I bled the system and all that and added my hydraulic fluid and oil, still didn't work for me. So I never liked those hydraulic table shop or car lifts from Harbor Freight. But I did have a Harbor Freight motorcycle lift. It worked great for my application, but I did sell it just because I really wasn't using it as much as I should. So let's see. Tyler, you're asking question here. What should I stock? Bunch of plugs, filters, oil, etc. What kind of plugs? Any parts? Any parts of any types? So this question or this. Okay. Yeah. So I would highly recommend you stock up on plugs, B2LMs, RJ19LMs, J19. Well, no, RJ19LMs you should be fine with covering those three. You should stock up our RN9YCs. You should stock up on RCJ6Ys, RCJ8s, CJ6Ys, all those different types. Look at what machines you're getting and write down those main parts. Like, let's just say it's snowblower season, right? Hot spark plug on that is RN9YC or RJ19LM. Those two spark plugs, you want to keep at least 10 spark plugs on hand at all times. Depending on how much you can afford, depending on how much quantity you really want to keep on hand, and depending on how many machines you get through the shop, I feel comfortable with holding on to 10 plugs at each, at a given time. So, and they last 10 plugs last me about, I'd say 2 weeks to a month. So, just keep them in stock. Keep the air filters. The number one air filter I see is I know the Oregon number is 30-800. It's just a Briggs & Stratton air filter, those blue ringed ones with a white filtered, square looking ones. Keep those in stock. I have at least 5 of them. And when mower season comes, you have that air filter and Tecumseh filters as well on those Tecumseh 6.5 horse engines with the carburetor on the left side and that cone type filter. You want to keep those at least in stock. So, depending on the season, you obviously don't want to restock lawnmower air filters when you're repairing snowblowers. You want to keep it kind of fluctuating depending on what season it is and for what machine you need. So, depending on what kind of plugs, I recommend just sticking to one brand. So what I like is they're called Oregon branded spark plugs, and their number system is really easy to remember. So they're all basically numbered in order, and I figured out that number system and I have the chart for all the numbers and what all the cross references and everything. But you can buy NGK spark plugs are just a little bit more expensive. So just stick to one brand and you should be fine with that. So, as far as parts, keeping parts in stock, maybe recoils, maybe float bowl gaskets, but don't keep parts that are over like $70 or I'd say $50 and up. Don't keep those parts in stock because more than likely you won't need to replace them throughout that month. Just hold on to those parts and order them only when customers need them, especially like starters. Usually a customer doesn't come in with a starter issue. It's just something you're going to have to order instead of holding on to and just having it collect dust. So hopefully that answered your question, Tyler. If you guys got any more questions, leave a comment down below. Let's see, Tom Schaefer, you got a question. How do you feel about the DuraForce 2 cycles on the Lawn Boy push mowers? Honestly, it must be an old unit, right? Or is that a newer unit? I don't know, Tom. You're going to have to let me know on that. But I have seen some two-cycled push mowers, which are fine. I mean, you don't have any oil to change or anything like that, right? It's just a two-cycled machine. So I feel like they're just as simple as regular push mowers, right? Maybe even simpler, but I've never heard of the DuraForce brand. I'm not too sure, honestly, with you on that one. But Right asks, how do you know? Hot Rod's chime in. Okay, how do you know when to clean a carburetor or buy a new carburetor? Hot Rod says if the machine won't start or if it's not getting any gas from checking the spark plug. Oh, okay. So the difference between cleaning a carburetor and buying a new carburetor is you can spend your time to clean your carburetor, but if you take it apart and if it's just gunk, full of gunk, rust, water deposit, or anything like that, I would highly recommend just throwing that carburetor away and buying a new one. So that's the difference between cleaning a carburetor and buying a new carburetor. You just want to make sure that you know exactly that cleaning process will clean the carburetor, and you won't waste your time trying to clean that carburetor and have it not work for you. So sometimes it's just easier just to buy a new carburetor instead of cleaning the carburetor, wasting your time, and then having it leak or having it not run right, still surge. I've seen many carburetors like that. So if I see rust or if I see fish eggs in the carburetor, and if it's just skunked and the ethanol breaking down the gas in there, it's just all broken down and looked like, I don't know, sugar, I guess, in your flow bowl, then I just recommend tossing it and ordering a new carburetor. So it's just easier to replace a carburetor than actually cleaning it and wasting your time on it. So if anybody got any questions, anybody got any more questions, let me know. We are answering questions right now, but we are wrapping up here in a little bit. Let me do something real fast here. All right. Anybody got any more questions? Questions going once, questions going twice. It's a good time to ask. Let me go ahead and hide that one. So yeah, let's see. I don't think I missed any. Let me just go through one more time. Yeah, Leaf Dixon, thank you for your questions and sticking with us to the end. Really appreciate it. Paul Rose, well, Paul, we are on here for a little bit more. You can ask questions if you want. I'm going to kind of lean back on my chair, but I've been leaning forward the whole time. But Adam Reed has a question. Let me throw it up here. What are your prices on basic snowblower repairs and servicing? So my basic prices are for snowblowers. So for 2-cycle snowblowers or 2-stroke snowblowers, it's 55 plus parts. For 4-cycle snowblowers, like all your basically 4-cycle engines, right? It's 65 plus parts. So you got 55 plus parts and 65 plus parts. That's just the basic snowblower pricing on the snowblower repairs. So hope I answered that question for you, Adam. Let's see, Chaotic. Let me put your question on here. When I clean small carburetors like weed ears, can I always get away with reusing all the old gaskets? Do you put new ones on every time? No, I don't put new ones on every time. If they're really crumbly or if they tear on you, you're just going to have to replace them, right? So sometimes you got to be very careful when you remove those gaskets. You got to remove them with like a straight edge and remove them carefully so that you don't rip them. But if your metering diaphragm is just shot and old, encrusted, and corroded, then you're going to have to replace the gaskets. Sometimes it's just easier to replace the whole carburetor, honestly, or rebuild the carburetor. But I'd recommend replacing the carburetor instead of trying to, chase parts, chase gaskets, and cutting out gaskets if you need to. But I'd always just, recommend, all right, if you're cleaning out those 2 small carburetors, sometimes you can get away with old gaskets, but you just got to check the condition of them before you do that. Paul, you asked, what more type of pull rope do you like to use? So there's a brand out there called, I don't know the brand, but it's you you can buy them on Amazon. It's manufactured or sold by, distributed by Stens, but they got those rolls. It's like a bluish or blackish / blue striped pull rope, and they got various sizes. I mean, going from like I think it was like number 2.5 to number 6. So they get real heavy, but I like to use anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5 for bigger equipment. But 3.5 is right around for, you know, your Stihl chainsaws and 2-stroke equipment. But 4.5, you're usually looking at blowers and lawnmowers. So you need a little bit of thicker rope for bigger engines. Do It Right says, I'm trying to get an engine on a wood splitter running for a friend. It ran good last year, started up just fine, but this year won't start for nothing. Check the wow, I just went brain dead. Sorry about that. Check the compression on the engine. There we go. It's going to pressure, but check the compression on the engine, because if they stored it outside, then you might have got some water in the engine and then ran it with water in the engine. That's no good. Sometimes you have to check the compression before you use the machine in order to see if it's even worth fixing. So I check the compression, make sure it's over 70 psi in order for it to start right and run good. Oh, you clean the carburetor twice and now it's leaking gas out and won't start. I'm at a loss of what to do now. I'm sure it has spark, right? Right, it has spark, and I'm sure it has good. Check compression, make sure it's got good compression. I think it is Tri-Blue, yeah, Jungle Bob repair. It might be. Oops. Let me throw that up there. What are your hours of operation? 8 to 5. So I operate from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock at night. Sometimes I go over, but it's just, you know, depending on how busy I am. That's the cool thing about running a business, is you can shut down at any given time. So if you feel like going home, you can go home, right? And if you work in your garage at home, you just go through the door, right? Take breaks all you want. So hours of operation are flexible, but generally, if I'm posting on Google or something, it's 8 to 5. So, any more questions? Anybody got any questions of small engine repair or small engine business questions? We're almost at the 2-hour mark, but I don't know if we're going to hit it or not. But depending on if anybody else has any questions, then we'll call it. If nobody else has anything. Okay, Paul Rhodes, let me throw your question up here. Echo SRM 225. Okay, trimmer. What would you charge to rebuild carbon tune up? A new carb is 50, so trying to just rebuild your carbon just to tune up. Okay, so for a 2-stroke tune up, you're looking at 55 plus parts. So $55 labor is what I would charge them, right? So now you're looking at parts. So tune up, spark plug, air filter, yeah, and fuel filter. So that right there is what? I'd say $20 for those 3. And now you're looking at either replacing a carburetor if the rebuild didn't work. New carb is 50, so trying to just rebuild their carb and just to tune up. If you can get away with rebuilding your carburetor, that's the problem. If a cleaning doesn't help and a rebuilding doesn't help, then you're out of luck and you're going to have to replace the carburetor. This is what I would do. You can tell the customer that they have a chance to save some money, right? There's no guarantee that a carburetor will rebuilding a carburetor will make their machine run right, but it's the cheapest way to do it. Now, if you feel comfortable, if you don't feel certain that the rebuild will actually fix the issue, then I'd recommend just buying a new carburetor and throwing a carburetor on there, because honestly, throwing a new carburetor on any machine will make it run right as long as the engine works, right? So I feel like sometimes if you're going to be replacing it with an OEM, yeah, it's going to be $50. If you're going to try to find an aftermarket one, which there are some good ones out there, you can find them for I'd say $15 to $20 on Amazon. So it's just sometimes it's beneficial just to try an aftermarket carburetor and seeing if it'll work, because like 80%, 85% of the time they'll work correctly. Sometimes you might have to adjust the high and low screws, and idle screw, maybe, you know, if they're out of tune or out of adjustment. So that's just my thing. If you need to replace the carburetor or rebuild it, I would suggest looking for an aftermarket carburetor and seeing the prices on it before you try to order a OEM carburetor. So just look at the prices, and whichever one you feel more comfortable with, then go with it. So. Okay. All right. Anybody got more questions? Questions going once? Got 12 people watching on here. I think I'm going to do that and go with an aftermarket carb. That's, oh yeah, thanks for all your help. Yeah, honestly, aftermarket carbs are sometimes just the way to go. I mean, for $15, $20, you can get a new carburetor and it'll more than likely work. So do it right. Does it have compression? Have you read the compression reading on that log splitter? And Andrew's at the table at Chili's. Lucky you. So. Do right. Send me an email. I'll send you the name of my business. I don't want to make it public on here, but if you send me an email, I'll send you my business name. So I just don't want to publicize any information on here regarding personal information, I guess. But Andrew with another $2 donation. Didn't say anything though. But we appreciate that, Andrew. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And Andrew, you need to make a Amazon wish list so I could send you something. But anybody got any more questions? We might be wrapping this up right now. So got about 1 more minute, and then I'm just going to call it a live, call it a night. So if nobody has any more questions, then we'll close and go to bed. All right. I don't see any questions. Yes, sir. We got Zips. Spokane, we do. I don't like their burgers, though. I'm more of a fish and fries kind of guy. So, all right. Well, that closes us out for tonight. I appreciate you guys taking the time to ask questions and having us answer them. Again, we answer them to the best of our knowledge. Well, we try to be experts, but nobody's an expert here. So a lot of people are opinionated, and I like to share my opinions on how to repair machines, but hopefully I can give you guys a direction of where to go in order to further diagnose your machine or operate your business, right? So anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care. This has been Phil with Small Engine Nation, and I appreciate you guys' time on here. Thank you, Andrew, for the $7 shout outs. The live, what's it called? I forgot. Super chats. Right. Yeah. So I appreciate everybody's time. We will be doing another live in about 2 weeks. So another Q&A will be number 3 Q&A, and I don't know who I'll have as a special guest, but we'll try to find somebody, maybe someone that's just starting in their small engine repair business and wants to share. Maybe we'll have a few people on here. I don't know what I'm going to have in stock, but don't know my plan yet for the number 3. But yeah, everybody have a good night. And Paul, thank you for being such a good YouTube subscriber, and we appreciate your time and all your questions. So in the meantime, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Take care. God bless you, and have a wonderful day. This is Phil with Small Engine Nation, and we are signing off. And let's see how. Oh, there.